What's going on YouTube? It's Cupid here with the final week of recaps for the Cupid Draft League Season 3, Part 2, Attempt Number 2, 3.5, whatever you want to refer to it as. I'm very excited for this because after this we only have the playoffs, which means there should be a dramatic amount less plays that make me want to jump off of the nearest bridge from here on out, which is very good stuff. So let's just get straight into it, yeah? First up we have Ryevji versus Shadow King. Ryevji fighting for his playoff life here. If he loses this match 2-0, or maybe 2-1, I think he does actually end up getting 7th instead of, making the playoffs, which is top 6. So let's see how this goes, yeah? Alright, so this time we have Shadow King versus Ryevji. Alakazam is the lead here. Alakazam's going to go turn 1 Nasty Plot as Pelipper's just going to click Weather Ball, and the Alakazam has a Focus Sash. This is very powerful, as if this Alakazam has... Okay, well, Psychic just kills this Pelipper. I was about to say if this Alakazam has, like, maybe an electric move, it can do a lot of damage. But it does not appear to do so. Here comes Barraskewda with Swift Swim. It's going to come and kill the Alakazam, and for some reason we are going to go into our Diancie just to put up Stealth Rock after that. I don't know why we didn't lead with this if we were preoccupied with the Stealth Rocks. But that's okay. We are going to sacrifice another Pokemon to this Barraskewda, and now Tyranitar is going to come in and change the weather, which is something that probably should have happened a little while ago. Anyway, Tyranitar is still weak to Liquidation, and we just lose our Tyranitar for free, which is always nice. And now we finally go into Golisopod and click the priority move that kills the Barraskewda in one hit. Why did we sacrifice 2 Pokemon before doing this? I could not tell you. Now here comes Charizard to take some Sandstorm damage and also a Toxic Poison, but luckily for us we dodged the Toxic Poison. And now we're going to get a Fire Blast off that kills the Ferrothorn immediately. And now there's no rain for the rest of the game, meaning that Ryevji is actually in a terrible position. In comes Starmie to use Power Gem, which is a spicy coverage move for this Charizard. And thanks to the Citrus Berry, we actually heal out of the range of our emergency exit, which means we're going to be able to get off the surprise attack, First Impression, and we're going to do some massive damage. Now, Raikou's going to come in and kill us with Thunderbolt, and we really should go into Decky Dewey. And looks like we do. That's always nice. Now we have Weather Ball from the Raikou, which is a fire-type attack, and we did not prepare for that properly, and we lose our Decky Dewey. And now our Charizard's also going to die to Thunderbolt. And yeah, we just weren't prepared for the Raikou in the back with Weather Ball, it seems like. We didn't really play around that. So let's go into the next game and see if Shadow King's able to get this 2-1 win and knock Ryevji out of the playoffs. Alright, so Ryevji's going to lead with the Starmie this time as Shadow King goes for Tyranitar, and this is usually a pretty good situation for Tyranitar as the Sandstorm gives a special defense boost to rock types, but for whatever reason, Shadow King clicks Thunder Wave on a Pokemon with Natural Cure. Now we're going to take another Surf because we don't really care about switching out of the Pokemon that is using Surf on our rock type, just so we can get up Stealth Rocks. And Ryevji opts to just not kill the Tyranitar to change the weather by going into Pelipper. And in response, Shadow King goes into Decky Dewey. Now, after that, Tyranitar is going to come back in as Hurricane is used, and I think that's only 50% accurate in the Sandstorm, but it doesn't matter because Ryevji hits anyway and gets the Confusion, which is a 30% chance. Meaning that exact play was only a 15% chance of happening. But it's okay, Ryevji decides to keep his Pelipper alive because he realized how bad not having weather was last game, so he goes into his Ferrothorn, and Shadow King has forgotten how to switch. He's just forgotten. He doesn't know what switching is. He just doesn't know. And we could have gone into an Alakazam and started setting up, nasty plots, because Ryevji would have probably missed the fact that Alakazam is immune to Toxic and also Leech Seed. But that's okay. We're gonna just use Earthquake 6 times and then have our Tyranitar die to, leftovers plus Leech Seed plus Toxic. But no, actually, we've decided that that's not a good idea now, and we go into Charizard immediately, which is something we should have done in the first place. Now Charizard's going to Mega Evolve, getting up the fire. to use Fire Blast, and I'm already proud of Shadow King for not clicking Solar Beam there. That should tell you the kind of play we've been seeing thus far. Now Pelipper is going to come in, make the weather rain, and now Tyranitar is going to come in and make the weather sand, but Tyranitar is still low enough HP to just die to this weather ball. I wonder why we insisted on clicking Earthquake on the Ferrothorn 16 times. Alright, now we have Diancie coming in. It's going to get up a Diamond Storm, which is very nice. We even get the defense boost, meaning we now survive the onslaught of this Swampert with relative ease. And we get a Moonblast special attack drop as well, and we're going to take this Earthquake because of our defense boost. That being said, we're still not feeling great about it, but we're going to get off another Moonblast because this Swampert is apparently very cringe. And now we're going to die to Liquidation. Golisopod is going to be our response to this, and we're going to click First Impression, which makes perfect sense. Swampert faints, and now what? We have Raikou coming back in, and honestly, if I was Shadow King, I would just go into... maybe not Alakazam personally, but you know what? It's fine. We don't need this Focus Sash, right? We're going to just get off some Psychic Chip to do 50%, which is actually surprisingly little, but it's okay, because we are whittling this thing down. Golisopod's going to come back in and click the First Impression button once again. Alright, and what's Ryevji's response? He goes into Starmie. Does this have... oh, well, I guess it doesn't have X-Scissor. Now we're going to go into Decky Dewey as Ryevji uses Power Gem. And we had to be careful because if this thing has Psychic, we're perishing, but it doesn't. But Ryevji is going to get an Ice Beam Freeze because he is, again, the most carried Pokemon player of all time. Decky Dewey is now going to faint instead of killing the Starmie due to a 10% chance to freeze. And now Golisopod's going to come in and click First Impression. And now, Ryevji has a very important decision to make. And he makes the wrong choice here and goes into Pelipper to set up the rain again. Why is this the wrong choice, you may ask? Because now Charizard's going to come in and absorb any attack that this Pelipper really has due to the sun, and Shadow King is going to click Solar Beam. And this is actually a situation where Solar Beam is okay. Now, why did Ryevji make the wrong choice? Because after this Barraskewda kills the Charizard, if it even does, which it didn't, Golisopod would come in with First Impression and kill you anyway. And that is why you needed to have, health on your Pelipper so you could sack it to First Impression. But instead, we did not realize, we thought we really needed the rain there, and Charizard, comes in with Drought. And also, if you had gone into Barraskewda, you could have switched to Pelipper and got the Drizzle up to change the weather off of Sun, so Solar Beam no longer goes off. Not only does Solar Beam not go off, it also does halved damage in the rain. So, yeah, going into Pelipper was the only losing move there. And Ryevji found it. So, Game 3. What do we have Game 3? Well, if Shadow King wins this, Ryevji doesn't make the playoffs, which is very funny. But this time Ryevji is going to lead with Barraskewda and click Flip Turn to get some offensive momentum and turn off the Tyranitar's, rain. But Tyranitar goes for Dragon Dance, and if it's faster than this Pelipper, it's going to kill it, and it is because of Dragon Dance, obviously, and Stone Edge is going to OHKO, but it's okay, because Barraskewda is coming in after that to kill our Tyranitar, and we decide to go into Diancie to get brought down to our Focus Sash immediately. Also worth noting, there is no Ferrothorn on the team of Ryevji this game. There is a Florges instead, which is spicy. Alright, now Tyranitar is going to turn off the rain, and then after that we are going to go into Decky Dewey to absorb all damage from this Pokemon, this Barraskewda, due to the fact that we are a Grass type. Now Florges is going to come in. We're going to knock off its item, which is probably... okay, it's Rocky Helmet, as we've just seen. That's not too surprising, I guess, but Rocky Helmet is still an interesting choice. And now we're going to put a Charizard in front of a Pokemon with base 154 special defense. Now we are going to Mega Evolve and hopefully click a Fire-type move. We do. It does 69%, which is very nice, but we're going to get Toxic Poisoned. And now we shouldn't click Fire Blast. We should click, Solar Beam was actually a good click there. It's fair, because, it still kills the Florges directly in front of you, and it kills whatever Pokemon comes in, except for the electric types, because, they just take the damage. Now, for whatever reason, we decide to sack our Charizard, because I guess it's slower than all of Ryevji's Pokemon, so it does make sense. And now we go into Golisopod, click hopefully banded First Impression, but it was not. It did not do the damage needed. and we're going to go into Decky Dewey to get Weatherballed, as we've seen in an earlier game. Alright, now Shadow King should really go into Alakazam, but instead we go into Golisopod. This was prime Alakazam time, but I guess we just decided not to, and we really need this Golisopod. It's our whole win condition, and Shadow King, I guess, realizes this, so he's going to go into Tyranitar, sack it to Jolteon's Volt Switch, which gives him some defensive momentum, as Barraskewda comes in. This should be Golisopod to click once again, first impression. Very cool, but we do not have enough sacrifices in the back for all of Ryuji's Pokemon here. Golisopod's going to have to find a way to pick up a kill on its own, and our Alakazam's going to get crit by a Thunderbolt, and that crit didn't matter because we are still slower. And we're going to lose Alakazam, and that early sacrifice on Diancie to the Barraskewda was going to be the deciding factor in this game. So first impression will kill the Starmie, but tragically that is an electric type in the back that our Golisopod cannot beat. But Golisopod survives at 2%, and Leech Life is going to do massive damage. Do we have Aqua Jet on our Golisopod? We do! And Ryuji loses. But here's the thing. You know how I said Ryuji doesn't make the playoffs? I lied. He actually only needed one win, and Ryuji does make the playoffs after all. Alright, next up we have Plasma versus Euzoria. Plasma, who's been on an absolute tear ever since he replaced Bento, and Euzoria, who has a tendency to click Psychic on his Mimikyu. So let's see what's going on here. We have lead Iron Crown versus Tapu Bulu, and we're just going to turn one click Tachyon Cutter because Euzoria, I guess, doesn't know that Fairy is weak to Steel. Now Latios is going to come in and click Mystical Fire as the Clefable comes in, which makes perfect sense. That is a normal switch, but instead of switching into a Pokemon that has a chance against Clefable, we are just going to Mega Evolve with our Latios and use Ice Beam. I guess praying for a freeze? I'm not sure. And now we're going to go into Greninja on Moonblast and lose our entire Greninja, as far as health is concerned. Because even with -1 special attack, that still does over half of its HP, and that's a lot of damage. Now Greninja's going to U-turn out because, you know, Iron Crown makes perfect sense. You're not clicking a Dark move on a Clefable. Why would you do that? So Greninja actually ends up U-turning out, taking some damage, and Latios comes in. Iron Crown, you know, is forced out by the Latios. And now we have this situation where we got another special attack drop, but the Clefable is healing to full. Now Euzoria opts to go for Knockoff instead of Flower Trick, which would have probably killed here. And I don't really know why we decided to start with Knockoff, but we revealed that we are in fact Life Orb. Very cool stuff. Meowscarada, I believe, was faster than this, and I don't know why Euzoria didn't just stay in to click Knockoff, because I feel like that would have probably killed, provided that this Iron Crown was not Colberberry. Anyway, Mimikyu is in. It's getting up a Swords Dance, as Venusaur is going to Mega Evolve, click Sludge Bomb, do massive damage, and Mimikyu is going to click Shadow Sneak, which is not enough damage. Now, we're going to heal off of that thing's HP. Greninja's going to come in and use Ice Beam on the thick, fat Mega Venusaur, so it lives with relative ease. And, yeah, that's not enough damage. You're going to just faint. And, honestly, I think this Venusaur probably solos the remainder of Euzoria's team, with pretty solid ease, to be honest. Not even relative, I would say. Triple Axle does not do enough damage there, and Venusaur has Synthesis, so it's going to simply heal. And this is going to be the trend, it looks like, as Meowscarada is going to faint to Triple Axle again. Vikavolt comes in and is going to probably click something along the lines of Bug Buzz. Yeah, and that was probably your best bet from the start. But Sludge Bomb is going to get a Poison, and another Sludge Bomb KOs anyway, and it looks like we have no Psychic moves on this Latios. Instead, we're packing Mystical Fire and Ice Beam, and Sludge Bomb's going to poison this. And Plasma could reserve this Pokemon, but really there's no need to. You could just sack it and let the Latios faint to poison at the end of the turn, and take the 4-0 win in Game 1. Alright, how will Euzoria adapt in Game 2? Well, we're going to lead the Latios this time, as Plasma is going to lead young Tachyon Cutter. Tachyon Cutter is going to use Volt Switch into the Clefable. Big surprise, this is exactly what happened last time. Always put the Clefable in front of this, I guess, and Latios is just going to try and set up some Calm Minds. And even after 2, it takes massive damage from that Moonblast, which tells me that this is an unaware Clefable. The Clefable is not aware. Anyway, we're gonna go for Mystical Fire, get the special attack drop, but still faint. Meowscarada's gonna come in to click Knockoff, and you can't knock off a Mega Stone, so this Venusaur is a perfectly acceptable switch at all times in this situation. Now we're gonna click Triple Axle because we still don't recognize that, you know, Venusaur has Thick Fat, which you can see simply by hovering over it. And we are going to nearly lose our entire Meowscarada to this thing, but luckily we decided to switch into Gengar to click Thunder Wave instead of Psychic. Now our Gengar is going to be brought to its Focus Sash by Earth Power, and Clefable is going to come in as we are using Destiny Bond. And now, tragically for you, Zoria, Destiny Bond's not going to do anything because you have to click another move because you're faster than the Clefable. And instead of opting to click a Poison-type attack, or literally any attack that exists, we're going to try and Thunder Wave the Clefable, and we're going to lose our Gengar for free. Now Mimikyu is going to get knocked off for its Life Orb, and also its Disguise broken as it sets up a Swords Dance, and we're going to go for another one as well. Feeling very feisty, I suppose. And now we're going to use Drain Punch on a Fairy type to do no sorts of damage, and also we are still aware that this Clefairy is unaware. And now we're going to use Wood Hammer. We're going to get a crit doing massive damage, but we're also going to take ourselves out with that Wood Hammer. And now Meowscarada is going to come in to click Flower Trick, which is something we probably should have done a long time ago. But instead of going for Flower Trick, we're going for Knockoff again. We already saw that that just isn't going to work, and Meowscarada reveals it is in fact Acrobatics with Life Orb. That being said, I want to point out that Acrobatics would actually do more damage if you did not have a Life Orb. That being said, your other moves would do less, but Acrobatics would have done more. Alright, so now Tapu Bulu comes in to set up the terrain, and I think it's just too little too late here. Here's Tachyon Cutter. What is your response? I guess you're gonna just eat this. And what are you gonna do in response to this Tachyon Cutter? You're gonna Superpower, get off some solid chip damage, but we're not in a situation where Greninja wins the game. And tragically, all that we have left is that Greninja. So, let's see if Plasma manages to throw by switching 6 times. Greninja comes in, clicks Dark Pulse on the Clefable, and yeah, just clicking the Pokemon in front of us is not gonna work here. We need to make a predictive move. Now Greninja is going to go for Water Shuriken and hit 3 times, which is not going to be enough. We're going to die to a Moonblast, and Plasma will get the 6-0 win. And that is a win for Plasma. Very cool. Next up, we've got Mr. Titan T versus John Gold. 2 players who are notorious for making bad plays. Here we go. So Mr. Titan T leads with Smeargle, and John Gold leads with a Moongus, which is pretty sus. And Smeargle's just going to put up the webs and probably get brought down to a Sash. But instead, we have Fake Out from the Metachan, which is going to do a bit of damage. And then since we flinch, we can get a free follow-up with Metachan, and we opt for Ice Punch. Alright, now Dragapult comes in to click Shadow Ball on the Amoonguss, and the Amoonguss is going to get crit and defense dropped, which is a 1 in 400 chance. And now we are going to click Shadow Ball again for free. Yeah, I mean, Samurott walls Dragapult, so we go into Tapu Fini, and Tapu Fini walls the Ceaseless Edge boy, so now he cannot edge ceaselessly. And Tapu Fini uses Moonblast as Amoonguss comes in. And now we have the bear. The bear is going to use Supercell Slam, which is... I don't really know about that one, but okay. And now Iron Tread is going to come in with Quark Drive. And it's going to boost its defense. I guess we're trying to wall the bear out, but John forfeits the game? I guess he recognized that he was slower than this, and... I don't... I couldn't tell you. But, it's fine. Game 2. Alright, John Gold's gonna lead Moltres here as Mr. Titan T goes for Dragapult, and Mr. Titan T gets a substitute on Protect. Now John Gold goes for Talo, thinking that Talo is going to do something here. But, you know, we have Dragon Dance, and now we're gonna just set up a bunch of Dragon Dances because, you know, physical Dragapult is that bad where you need to set up 3 Dragon Dances to win a game. Anyway, we're gonna get Boom Bursted through Substitute and through Ghost type because that Talo had Scrappy, which is pretty impressive stuff. But now all of John Gold's Pokemon are probably gonna die to this Dragon Darts. I don't know why we're not going into Iron Treads, but it's fine, I guess. You know. Alright, and yeah, now Mr. Titan T's going for more Dragon Dances, because that's, you know, exactly what he needs to do in this situation. We go for Phantom Force, and honestly, John Gold at this point has lost. And he's gonna Terra Ghost, because, again, this guy thinks he's funny. Or something. I don't know. But he will not be allowed in future editions of this tournament. And probably also not allowed in any other community events from here out. And Mr. Titan T is going to get a pretty clean 6-0. Cool. After that, we have Rudes versus Otto. Alright, so Otto's going to lead with Nihilego, probably to click Meteor Beam, and Rudes is going to lead with Dondozo to use Liquidation, and that does a lot of damage. And we're going to knock off this thing's Assault Vest, which is a wild set for Dondozo. Dondozo with no recovery is crazy. But Otto is going to switch around in front of it 6 times and just not click a move that hits Dondozo. We're going to just switch 6 times and then, you know, let this Dondozo do way more work than it ever should have. And then finally go into Kyurem, which was able to just come in on this anyway, provided it didn't click specifically Outrage. Okay, and in response, Roots is going to go into Zapdos, click the Z move, and not kill Kyurem, because Kyurem's kind of a beast. Now we're going to get a Freeze Dry crit, which I'm pretty sure didn't matter. I'm sure Light Orb Freeze Dry just kills Zapdos anyway, unless it's defensive. But if it's using a Z move, the odds that it's defensive are lower than my odds of wanting to, you know, stay alive after this. That being said, Gallade is going to come in now. This is Mega Gallade, by the way. It is required to hold the Mega Stone, but for whatever reason, Otto just prefers to use Sharpness Gallade, which is... okay. Now Roots is going to use Protect, you know, try and heal out. Gallade's going to use Aqua Cutter. We're going to half its HP with Ruination. Where Earthquake? Where Earthquake? Where Earthquake? We're gonna just get up rocks, we're gonna protect, we're gonna do some stalling, no big deal. Anyway, here comes Dragonite on Leaf Blade. Okay, so this is a free Dragon Dance, right? Yep, and there it is. And this should be faster than Nihilego now, and we are gonna get off the Earthquake damage. There's no Sash there because of Stealth Rocks. Silvally Rock is gonna come in and die to Earthquake as well. Very cool stuff, and if we have Fire Punch, this game is actually just over. Actually, no, Earthquake kills here. Gallade? You faster? Alright, so now we finally Mega Evolve and die, because we're still slower. Very cool stuff. Next game. Apparently Rudes did not want me to watch this one, so let's see what we've got here. Alright, so Otto's gonna lead with Nihilego, as he always does, and, you know, we still have Ting Lu. Scizor is going to come in on the Ting Lu to do what? We're going to click Brick Break. I don't know why we are opting for Brick Break, but it's okay. You know, we could have probably used, like, Bug Bite and had basically the same effect there. Now we're going to Brick Break the Toxapex that comes in after rocks go up, and I don't think we're packing a Defogger. And we're going to continue clicking Brick Break, because I guess we're Choice Banded? XDD Shrug? I don't know. We're gonna let our Scizor get scalded one time, just because, you know, we like to have a 30% chance to lose the game on the spot. Now we're gonna go into Sharpedo to let that get scalded too. Just so we can get off a crunch that does 35%, and Sharpedo does not do that much damage, and we gotta recognize that. Rudes opts for Toxic, which doesn't really matter here, because Sharpedo dies in one hit to most Pokemon anyway. Yeah, Toxapex is just gonna stall this out. It's going to continue clicking Recover, and Auto is going to click moves that Toxapex resists. And now we're going to Scald and kill the Sharpedo. Very cool stuff. Now we should go into Gallade here, but instead we opt for Kyurem to click Freeze Dry, and surely Rudes isn't going to sack a whole poke. Okay, so for whatever reason, Auto does not know what Freeze Dry does, and Rudes goes into Dragonite on what should have been a Freeze Dry turn, and gets Freeze Dried anyway. Now Kyurem's going to use Psychic on the Toxapex instead of Earth Power, and now we should click Freeze Dry again, but tragically, we know that this is Z-move and it kills us. So Rude sacrificed his whole Toxapex and his whole Dragonite for no reason. Nihilego is going to come in and click Meteor Beam now. What will Rudes do about this? Probably nothing, because there is very little that he can do. But we dodge Meteor Beam, because that move is shit! And now, Dondozo is going to kill us with Liquidation. Alright. So Gallade's gonna come in now, and how does Rudes lose this? Well, Sharpness Leaf Blade's a pretty good first step, but Dondozo has Rest this time, which is very, very crucial. But Rudes decides to stay in on Leaf Blade, and does he know that this move has a high critical hit ratio? Does he? Oh, wait, we have Sleep Talk Curse. Hold up, hold up, hold up. Do we get the crit? No, we don't get the crit. Okay. We're gonna Sleep Talk again. I guess we're gonna just, like, what, get another curse? Uh-oh. Uh-oh, this Leaf Blade kills. This Leaf Blade can kill. But we go for Sacred Sword and get the crit that way, and it also hits the special defense, I believe. So we just lose our hold on Dozo now. Silvally Rock comes in. This is already used its Z-move, and we resist flying, and Rudes does not make a prediction, and we survive a Thunderbolt now. Multi-attack kills this with relative ease. And now what? We go into Tinglu, because obviously you have to. We're gonna U-turn out, because what the fuck is Defog? And we go into Scizor here. Okay, Scizor, we get Body Pressed, Scizor dies. Now, do we have a fighting move on the Gallade? Do we have... Yes, we have Sacred Sword. We know that it has Sacred Sword. See you later, Tinglu, and guess what else loses to Sacred Sword? Heatran. And Rudes managed to throw that game. By sacrificing his whole Toxapex and also the Dragonite in front of a Kyurem, and Auto still almost managed to fumble that. That's pretty impressive stuff. Alright, Game 3. Alright, live Tinglu reaction versus Gallade. Is Gallade going to just simply click Sacred Sword? Nope. No, we're gonna just click Sacred Sword because we're 4 attacks with Sharpness and no other thing. And I still, to this day, cannot figure out what the fuck was going through Otto's head if he was just going to use Sharpness Gallade the entire time instead of using, you know, Mega Gallade. Why not just draft Sharpness Gallade? Anyway, we're gonna let our boy get Toxic Poisoned, and that's pretty ass, but it's okay because Dondozo's gonna come in now. We're gonna go straight into Kyurem, which is something we should have done last time, but it's okay. Now we can click a free Freeze Dry, which, if we didn't click Freeze Dry here, I would scream, but luckily we did, showing that Auto has at least 3 working brain cells. Now Sharpedo is going to come in when we know that Freeze Dry would have killed, which is absolutely ridiculous to me. And we're going to go for Liquidation, which just doesn't kill. And yeah, as a result, the rocks go up instead of us pressuring this Tinglu to death. So, since Auto doesn't know what Defog is, this Sharpedo, sure, it'll get a couple of speed boosts off, right? And it'll maybe kill this Tinglu, right? In theory. But, you know, now what? We just go into Toxapex, right? Surely we just go into Toxapex, right? Well, Rudes' brain also functions on a wavelength that is beyond my comprehension. So, I guess we just go into Dondozo instead to RNG this thing to death. Luckily, though, Sharpedo is a bad Pokemon, and we are going to be able to do that anyway, right? And for whatever reason, Auto starts clicking close combat, even though Crunch does the same amount of damage and doesn't have a downside, but it in fact has an upside of having a chance of lowering the defense of Dondozo, which lets us kill it. So we're going to continue clicking close combat because the 3 brain cells stopped working. They all died simultaneously in a car accident. And now Dondozo is going to wake up and use rest, and we are still attacking this thing for some reason, even though we know for a fact that it can't hurt our Q-Room. You want to know why this is a problem for Auto? Because Auto doesn't know what Defog is, or Rapid Spin. So now the Q-Room can't just come in because it loses a quarter of its HP, and now Auto decides to go into Gallade after letting his entire Sharpedo die. He could have saved that for later to sacrifice it on literally anything for a free switch, or, you know, literally any play that does anything, but instead we decided to just let the Dondozo heal on us. So now we're going to use Sharpness Gallade to do 6%, breaking the Dragonite's multi-scale. Now we go into Q-Room to take 36% from Earthquake, and we should click Freeze Dry here, right? Okay, good, we clicked Freeze Dry. So now we just need to not sacrifice our Q-Room to a whole Pokemon that is faster than us, but we decide to sacrifice our Q-Room to a whole Pokemon that is faster than us. Now Silvally Rock is going to come in, and here's Toxapex. Multi-attack does 31%, but after recovery, I doubt that this ever kills. Now we use Psychic Fangs, which does less damage than multi-attack, but that's okay. We do not realize how Stab works. Now Scizor is going to come in to, what, Sword Stance? Well, it's going to get Scalded, and luckily we dodged the burn. We're going to use Knockoff, removing the leftovers from the Toxapex, which again, should still just be Black Sludge. And we're going to use Knockoff on the Dragonite as well, knocking off the heavy-duty boots, and based on the amount of damage that did, we could have clicked Bullet Punch and killed this thing. But we're going to continue clicking Knockoff, because again, all 3 of the brain cells died in the simultaneous car accident. And yeah, we are just going to continue clicking Knockoff the entire time. Or, you know, we could have, like, switched. Okay, so Scizor was Choice Band. I mean, yeah, that was pretty obvious based on the damage it did to the Dragonite, right? But we could have switched and kept that Scizor for later, as, you know, Bullet Punch is a pretty good move. But I guess we just decided we didn't need it. Now here comes Gallade to use Sacred Sword. Does it kill? No, it does not. You know what's crazy? This Gallade doesn't win. Sword Stance goes up, Bullet Punch kills this, and we have a Nihilego in the back versus a Mega Scizor. That's a dead Nihilego. Alright, very cool. Rudes is going to be able to beat Auto despite his best efforts, and we can move on to the next match, which is Antkiller versus Silverwolf. Alright, let's see if Silverwolf goes Lapras second this week. Alright, so we have Gliscor lead versus Slowbro. This isn't surprising even slightly to me, as I believe Silverwolf always leads the Slowbro. Antkiller goes into Tentacruel to take a Scald. And let's see if Silverwolf switches into Lapras second. There it is. There it is. Lapras second. Let's go. We don't have any other thoughts in our head whatsoever. Lapras second. And now we're going to use Ice Beam on a water type a couple of times. Okay, well, Scald. Yeah, here's Tentacruel beating Lapras in a 1v1 because we're tunneling on Lapras second. Alright, and there goes Lapras. See you later, bozo. Tentacruel gets out of there after taking only 30% of its HP. And now we go back into Slowbro to set up Trick Room. If this Slowbro has a Psychic type attack, Silverwolf should uninstall. Luckily for us, it goes for Scald. So we still... The verdict is out there if Silverwolf should uninstall Pokemon. Oh, well, there it is. And this is a uninstall Pokemon Showdown moment. We could have killed this thing turn 1, but instead we just decided to let it kill our Lapras and get to turn 10 and put our Slowbro in range of dying to everything. Now Chandelure is going to come in with a Choice Scarf, so it can be slower than Goldengo in the Trick Room. And we're going to miss a Fire Spin because we're still using that for some reason. Now we're going to lose our Chandelure to Scarf Ditto, just so we can bring in our Landorus. Landorus is going to use Earthquake on a Gliscor, which does not work. Gliscor's going to knock off the Rocky Helmet, and we're going to U-turn out. We could probably go into literally anything else. And we opt to go for the Mega Altaria, and please tell me this clicks Dragon Dance. Okay, well, it clicks Flamethrower, or Fire Blast even. Does it have Ice Beam? I don't think it gets Ice Beam. Okay, we're gonna drop a Draco to do a little over half. Now we need a crit to kill this, though. And, Rock Slide, that's not super effective, but we do get the flinch, which essentially means it's super effective as we get off another attack, but we just dodge it. Now we're gonna drop yet another Draco. And we still need a crit to win here. Well, here's another Rock Slide flinch. Do we not have Toxic or, like, any other better move here? Like, this thing's got, like, a quarter of its special attack. Why don't we just, like, go into Goldengo? Like, are we scared of the switch to Landorus? Just click, make it rain. Alright, so now we go into Como, which also makes sense, you know? And we're gonna set up Dragon Dance. Interesting choice. And Draco at a quarter special attack does a quarter of Como's HP, which is nothing. And now we reveal Earthquake, and Como is going to use the Z move Sub-Zero Slammer to kill this thing with relative ease. Now we know it has an Ice type attack. It also probably has a Fighting type attack. We're going to Drain Punch this Regirock to do solid damage, but we get countered by a Pokemon with base 200 physical defense, because Counter is a move that takes the physical damage that you took that turn, doubles it, and throws it back at your opponent. So instead of, you know, running a normal move, we're running Counter, and it works out there. Alright, now here comes Landorus to use Earthquake, and it's going to use Rock Slide as the Gliscor comes in, but if you guys are aware of how this matchup works, Landorus never wins this. It only has Earthquake, it seems like. It only has Earthquake, it seems like, to hit this Gliscor. And, yeah, this game's just over. There's nothing that works here. The Gliscor will always win this battle. It has Roost, and it has Poison Heal, so we just don't do enough damage anyway. So it's gonna take a while. It's gonna take a while to drag me away from you, chat. And also those of you who are watching on YouTube. There's nothing that 100 men or more could ever do. This Gliscor is blessing the rains down in Africa right now, and that is a dead Landorus. Okay, game 2. Surely game 2 will be better, right? Let's see if Silverwolf still goes Lapras second. Alright, so we still have Chandelure lead. Chandelure is going to get Shadow Balled by this Goldengo, and please tell me we clicked Shadow Ball back. We did. We killed the Goldengo immediately. That's fantastic stuff. You'll love to see that. Also, why did this Chandelure survive Goldengos? Why did Spec Chandelure survive a Goldengo Shadow Ball? It had no business doing that. Anyway, the first time we don't go Lapras second was the only time it should have happened. Now we go into Slowbro to set up Trick Room. Very cool stuff. And we go Psyshock on the Tentacruel. Hold up. We're actually playing well? There's no way this is happening for real. This is an accident. We're going to click Psyshock on the Ditto this time. Ditto's going to take some chip damage. We're going to use Scald because I guess we have no Pokemon to beat our own Slowbro, which makes sense. Even though we have a whole Lapras. We're gonna both get Scald burned, which is very funny. And here comes Victini. Did we click Scald again? Why did Ant put a Victini in front of Scald? I guess we're gonna use Bolt Strike here. No, we have Energy Ball instead. Okay, that's gonna pick up the KO. Here comes Lapras. Yep, there it is. It's always Slowbro into Lapras. Alright, so Antkiller goes into Lapras of his own with the Ditto, which is a losing matchup here, as you are already, you know, burned. So you're going to take some extra damage from Protect here, as, you know, Freeze Dry is a very good click against Silverwolf's team, and we're going to continue trying to click Protect for some reason. I don't know, I guess we just opted to take the 1 in 3 chance. Please tell me we clicked Freeze Dry on the Tentacruel. We did, thank goodness. Como is going to come in here. It's going to use Dragon Dance in front of an Ice type, but for whatever reason, Silverwolf decided to click a Water move on a Dragon instead of an Ice move on a Dragon, like a normal person would do. Now we're going to Mega Altaria, as Como is going to reveal that it is in fact the Ice move again. And we are going to lose our entirety of our Mega Evolution. Here comes Regirock, I should say, to use Counter, which is psychopathic behavior. And now we have Dragon Dance being used as we go for Earthquake, because I guess Silverwolf is just in Ant's head like the back of his eyelids. Now we have Drain Punch, and did we use Counter here? Stone Edge. Okay, we're just clicking moves at random. I see Silverwolf has decided to take put the moves in a RNG thing and click the generate button to randomize what moves he picks every turn. And it's really showing here as we go into Landorus on the Pokemon that we know has an Ice move. But it doesn't matter because this also dies to Drain Punch. And you know what? This could have all been avoided if Lapras just clicked Freeze Dry in the first place. But it's okay. Silverwolf is defeated, and Antkiller is going to be making the playoffs. Very good for him. Alright, so we have the undefeated player versus the unwinning player. If Light Rebo manages to win a game here, I don't know, I'll donate $500 to charity. We'll see. Alright, so we have Lopunny versus Furret lead, and here comes Fake Out, because Light Revo likes to just click turn 1 Super Fang every time. Now he's going to probably try and click Super Fang again and die to close combat. Okay. So here's Thundurus. We're going to go into Screamtail, which is Screaming. Thundurus uses Volt Switch here, which is actually a good play, but he has no Pokemon that beat this. So Latias is going to come in and use Earthquake to do 0 damage. Now Stealth Rocks are going to go up as Screamtail is screaming. Now Light Repo is going to try and Dragon Dance as we get Dazzling Gleamed. And Dual Wing Beat does a total of 20% after a Dragon Dance. Now we're going to get Dazzling Gleamed for more than that, and Steel Wing finally comes out because we are fighting a Fairy type. Okay, thank goodness. You know, we can Steel Wing the Fairy type. We recognized our type matchups. We should have been Steel Winging the whole time, but it's okay. Now Latias could actually beat this one-on-one. Just kidding, it had Wish. I don't know if you guys saw it use Wish, but it had Wish. So this never wins. This Latias never wins. And it's gonna get out of here with basically full HP as well. So we're gonna just eat this Steel Wing, kill this Latias with Dazzling Gleam here, heal with Leftovers, heal with Wish, and be at like 95%, or 85%, I'm sorry. I added an extra 1 that did not need to be there. Now Screamtail is going to 1v1 this Blaziken probably as well, as Blaziken goes for Defog to remove the Stealth Rocks. This Screamtail is just there. We're going to use Stealth Rock again, as Blaziken opts to use Flame Charge to try and boost its speed, which it definitely needs. It definitely needs the speed. You know, being faster changes the entire game here. Anyway, Blaziken opts for Counter, which does not work on Dazzling Gleam because it's a special attack, and Light Repo doesn't know that. Now Scald is going to be used on the Blaziken to do major damage, like just crushing damage. But Blaziken uses U-turn, and instead of going to the Pokemon that has a ×4 super effective attack, we go into Swampert to let it get scalded. In comes Ogerpon, and it gets avalanched on the switch, but Hornleech says, I'm healing to full. Goodbye, Swampert. Now Blaziken comes back in to get Ivy Cudgeled by the Rock-type move. Now Sceptile, oh, no, Thundurus first. Ivy Cudgel is going to kill that. And now Sceptile is going to come in and also get Ivy Cudgel probably. But instead we are going into Corviknight because I guess we're spicy. Leaf Blade's going to do no damage. It does no damage. Brick Break is also going to do no damage, and Brave Bird is going to basically kill this Sceptile forever. And that went as expected. How about game 2? Alright, so we lead with Roaring Moon. I guess we're just trying to get the 6-0 from the start, but instead we can't do that because we're scared of Thundurus using Thunder Wave. So we go into Gastrodon, which is correct. Gastrodon's going to get off an Ice Beam on this Pert. And now we're going to go into Ogerpon Cornerstone, as Swampert doesn't really do anything to us. We saw that it was Avalanche, and that does 41%. And now it's time for Ivy Cudgel. Well, we're going to use Horn Leech because Light Revo recognizes that he needs to switch his Pokemon sometimes. He goes into Thundurus, takes the Horn Leech, and is still slower, so he dies to Ivy Cudgel anyway. Latias is going to come in and probably just get Ivy Cudgeled, but it's okay. We're going to go into Corviknight as the Latias goes for Steel Wing, and based on the fact that this Latias is Dual Wing, Beat, Earthquake, and Steel Wing, it needs to switch. Furret's going to come in as the Corviknight uses U-turn. In comes Roaring Moon to roar. And yeah, sure, Furret's going to get off 51% with Super Fang. That's all very fine and dandy, right? But we're going to use Dragon Dance again, as Light Revo reveals Protect on Furret to accomplish nothing. Now we have a knockoff that kills the Furret in one hit, and probably the rest of Light Revo's team. Alright, so Swampert survives because it's Assault Vest. We have an Avalanche, and Light Revo gets a Pokemon. That's more than I expected. But there's no way he wins this battle. This game is over. Ogerpon comes in, kills the Swampert, and honestly, it could have just stayed in and clicked Ivy Cudgel there. We go into Corviknight anyway, though. We get Drain Punch for 10%, which is fine. Yeah, Ogerpon survives that, I'm pretty confident. Now we have Dragon Dance from the Sceptile again, as Brave Bird is used again, and there's not really much adaptation happening here. We get a Drain Punch crit. Very cool. Doesn't do enough damage, and Sceptile dies. Now Latias comes in, and this is just unfortunate, to say the least. Because this Latias has 0 moves that beat this, and I'm guessing that the Blaziken doesn't have a fire attack, even though it has Flame Charge. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what you were hoping to accomplish here with this, but here we are. Spirit's going for a Sword Stance that he doesn't need to go for. We have a kill with Play Rough, and I guess we're just gonna Ivy Cudgel this, and there it is. There's the 2-0. And Spirit remains undefeated, and Light Revo remains winless. So now we move on to the final match of Week 8. Lionheart versus Ingle. Well, Lionheart's guaranteed playoffs here. I think Ingle is guaranteed not playoffs here, so that's pretty unfortunate. Ingle's going to lead Stunfisk, use Discharge, do a little over half to the Skarmory in the defensive category. Very cool stuff. We're going to probably get up Rocks as we expect Skarmory to switch. Now Skarmory is going to use a Spike here, and we get a Discharge pair-up, which is pretty huge. After the Discharge pair-up, Stunfisk is faster, and we killed the Skarmory, which is very good for Ingle. Latios is going to come in, probably click a Dragon-type move, or a Water-type move, but instead it clicks Luster Purge, which is predictive, and we lose our entire Enamorus, which is not good for Ingle. Now Goodra's going to come in, because it lives with relative ease. Mawile is the response to this Goodra, as hopefully Goodra clicked a Fire move, right? But instead we dropped a Draco. We were very scared of the Latios. And now as a result, we are probably going to die to Brick Break, but we survive. And we get off a Flamethrower that doesn't do enough to kill this thing. And we are going to go into Skeledirge as, honestly, you could have gone for knockoff there, but it's fine. Skeledirge has the heavy-duty boots. We're going to get a Will-O-Wisp burn off instead of using Torch Song to kill the fire type, or to kill the steel type in front of us that was going to fuck us up. Now Tapu Koko is in, and we just decide to switch into Blissey as a double switch, predicting Tapu Koko perhaps? But now what does Blissey do here? Like what, Seismic Toss? I think Seismic Toss is the only thing you can click here, really. But what did he go for? He went for Toxic. Okay, I guess. Sure, Toxic on this Iron Boulder is pretty nice. Where are the Mons that survive at attacking them? Goodra's gonna get sacrificed to Earthquake. Where are the Mons that survive? Well, here we have Ogerpon. Are we faster? Nope. Poison Jab, and that's going to kill. Where are the Mons that survive? Stunfisk comes in. Maybe that survives. Well, Apparently Lionheart sees that it does, and he gets out of there as Stunfisk goes for a protect turn. We get off the terrain, which is all fine and dandy. Now we're going to use protect again because we were very scared of Latios' Luster Purge, and we want to be at 94% for it instead. Now we're going to switch out Blissey, basically so we can take more hazards damage, and, you know, survive the Luster Purge. So our Stunfisk, which I guess is our win condition at this point, is going to not have as much HP as it did before it went for Protect, and we lose our entire Blissey to a Latios, which is not something I thought I'd ever see. Now Stunfisk is going to click Protect again because we are really trying to get as much leftovers recovery as possible, and now Stunfisk is going to eat a Luster Purge and use Earth Power on Latios. Now Tapu Koko is going to come in after that to justify the Earth Power click, but Ingle is just going to click Protect anyway. Now we're going to click Protect again because I guess, you know, leftovers recovery, the Bat Chest. Now we're going to switch out to invalidate those 2 turns of leftovers recovery that we got because of the spike, and also take more damage from Stealth Rocks. After all of this, Skeledirge comes in to click Hex. I guess it's not running Torch Song, and it's not running Choice Scarf, so there's probably just not a win for Ingle here anyway. Thunderbolt is used as Stunfisk comes in, and I guess we're going to click Protect a few more times now. Dazzling Gleam is revealed from the Tapu Koko, which does, in fact, kill this Stunfisk. There it is, and finally we're going to have Skeledirge eating a Thunderbolt, probably. No, we're going to go into Iron Moth here. I guess we just really like the idea of giving Ingle a chance, as Skeledirge is going to get to slack off. Sludge Wave does nothing, as Ghost resists poison, and we're going to use Will-O-Wisp on a fire type. Okay, Tapu Koko is now the answer, as we go for Hex. And with the terrain, I think Thunderbolt kills. No, it actually doesn't do enough at all. And now we're going to be able to probably stall out this terrain by continuing to click Slack Off, but instead we opt to use Hex, forfeiting the battle on the spot, as, you know, Thunderbolt just kills us. Alright, let's see if Ingle is going to be able to make a difference in Game 2. Alright, this time the Gardevoir has made an appearance here, as opposed to the Stunfisk, okay? Namorous is the lead, as Skarmory is just going to go for hazards. And Ingle is going to try and do his Crit Me Not stuff. He's getting set up. He's gone for a Calm Mind, and then a Mystical Fire into the Iron Moth. And after the special attack drop and the Calm Mind, we only take half, and we have Earth Power on the follow-up. Okay, so I guess our last move is Draining Kiss, and we don't have the Iron Defense this time. That being said, we are not surviving this Thunderbolt, and Ingle has decided, nah, you know what, I don't need it anyway, it's fine. Goodra comes in to use Earthquake, I'm guessing. Yeah, and there's the Skarmory on the Earthquake. Do we have Flamethrower? Please tell me we have Flamethrower. Or Fire Blast. Yeah, we have Flamethrower, that's good. That does no damage, which tells me this is a especially defensive Skarmory. The second Flamethrower does a lot more. I'm guessing that was mid-roll and then max roll. But it never 2-hit KOs, which means that the Skarmory is going to be able to roost out of range. But instead, Lionheart says, nah, you know what, I don't want to heal out of range. I'm going to just use Body Press to get off some chip damage, and Ingle is going to kill this with Flamethrower. Here comes Iron Boulder to use Earthquake, and that does in fact kill the Goodra, which is a lot of damage, and that is also a Life Orbed boy. Now, are we faster than this? The answer is no, and we are getting Poison Jabbed for our life savings and dying. Now Ingle needs to go into a Pokemon that survives these attacks, but Mighty Cleave, you know, is going to hurt a lot on this Skeledirge, and we're going to miss a Will-O-Wisp that wouldn't have really saved us anyway. Now we go into Blissey to take 1,000,000 damage from Mighty Cleave, and then die to another one. Okay, that's all good, I guess. And now Gardevoir comes in to die to Poison Jab. Very nice stuff. I don't think that crit mattered. Actually, it might have. Gardevoir's kind of bulky. Mega Guard is kind of bulky. And Skeledirge is going to come in and also get cleaved. And that is going to be a 2-0 win for Lionheart. So, after all of these matches, here is our playoffs. We have, in first place, Spirit going 16-0, and he will be the first seed for the playoffs. And second, we have Plasma, who went 14-2, losing to Spirit. And he is a total of, he's plus 12. He's the second seed. These two will both but get a bye for the first week. Now we have Lionheart versus ReavG. Lionheart, who went 13-2, and ReavG, who went 9-9, which is even, and that's apparently good enough to make it into the playoffs here. And then we have Mr. Titan T, who went 12-4. He apparently had a very good season, despite the fact that his play was pretty mid, not gonna lie. Then we also have Antkiller, who went 10-6, who will be facing off against Mr. Titan T in the fourth seed versus the fifth seed match. After this, we have Rudes on the bubble. Very unfortunate. We have Otto. Better luck next time. We have Shadow King, who did actually do quite the amount of improvement between the original Season 3 and here. We have Ingle, who went 5-11. We have Dragonus, who inherited several wins from Crystal Wolf. We have Euzoria, who didn't do as well as the draft would have predicted, but that's okay. Euzoria is learning. We have John, who is barred from future events, and we have Light Rebo, who did the historic first ever O and X run in the Cupid League. He is the first player to not get a single win. Congratulations, Light Rebo, for that. Now, as for Spirit, who went completely undefeated, we will see if he ends up being the first ever player to go completely undefeated after his playoff run. That being said, I will see you guys for the playoffs week 1 recap. And, I'll see you guys in whatever YouTube video you decide to watch next. Later.